Hello, I'm Nancy Elgie. In recent weeks, a lot has been said about a terrible error I made that has caused real pain. I'm sorry I haven't been able to speak publicly about it myself, but please understand that I have been receiving medical attention for a head injury and under doctor's orders to rest and heal. However, people deserve to hear from me personally about this situation and what I will do to help heal the wounds I have caused. I'm sorry I can't be there in person in York Region today, since I am out of town recovering with my family. 17 years ago, my late husband Bob called me while he was driving to Ottawa. He'd heard a story on the radio that they were having a hard time finding school trustees. "You could do that," he said. At the time, I had a busy practice as an educational psychologist. But I decided Bob was right. It would be a good opportunity for me to take all that I had learned about children and education over 40 years and try to apply it to making good policy and managing a school system. For me, it was also a chance to build on Bob's work in public life, including being a pioneer of Ontario's Human Rights Code. So I ran and was honored to be elected as the school trustee for Georgina. It has been a remarkable 17-year journey. We have seen tremendous progress in the quality of education in York Region during that time. And while the board has some serious challenges, it also has some of the best educational outcomes in the world in one of the country's most ethnically diverse regions. The credit for that goes to all the dedicated staff along with our students and their parents. Over that 17 years, I've done my best to make a difference for our community and schools, particularly for our most vulnerable children. Last November, I made a terrible mistake. I was in a private hallway conversation with fellow trustee Laura Lee Carruthers after a board meeting. I was trying to refer to a parent who had been at the meeting, but I did not know her name, only that she had been featured in media stories about children being called a hurtful, racist word. In trying to explain that, the words came out wrong, very wrong. As soon as I realized what I'd said, I was mortified. I apologized immediately to Trustee Carruthers and explained what I had meant. She accepted my apology and told me she understood that I had misspoken in using that offensive word. I later learned that someone passing by had heard my remark, but not the subsequent apology, and had filed a complaint. That led to an investigation, and I was told not to speak with anyone about the matter until it was done. Not the parent involved, my colleagues, or the media when they came to my door. It was very difficult not to be able to apologize or explain. I cooperated fully with the investigation, sharing what I had said and how it had happened, and I fully accepted the investigators' eventual finding that I had violated the respectful workplace policy. I apologized to the parent involved and to my colleagues as soon as I was free to speak. And I want to reiterate that heartfelt apology. I know how hurtful that word is, even if used inadvertently, and I am truly sorry for the pain my words have caused. The problem with the board's respectful workplace policy is that it does not provide a remedy for a breach by a trustee. That isn't right. When our students break the rules, even if it's unintended and they apologize, there is a consequence. The same should apply to trustees. As I said after the investigators' report, I want to do what is right to promote healing and recovery in the board and in the community. Over the past few weeks, I have thought a lot about what that requires. I have followed the public debate and listened to all who have contacted me with a range of different views. Some have questioned why I did not resign immediately. Let me try to explain. It was never about protecting my position. I am 82 years old and had no intention to run again. My main concern was the lesson that would be passed on to our students if the consequences for my infraction were totally punitive with no attempt to be restorative. A restorative approach, which evolved from the practices of First Nations peoples, has been an integral part of how our board handles student discipline. The policy I breached had no remedy, so I wanted to try to model the approach our board takes to student discipline, to lead by example. We teach students that if you break a rule and cause harm, there are consequences. But we also teach that if it was unintended and you apologize and take responsibility, those are mitigating factors. In those circumstances, typically, there is a sanction, but also a process for learning and restoration that includes the person responsible for the harm. So, I propose this same approach for me, a suspension followed by a process of dialogue and restoration. I wanted this to be a teachable moment for all of us. It has become obvious, however, that the repercussions of my behavior that evening have brought undeserved distress not only to persons I know and respect, but to countless others, including the parent involved. It has also harmed the reputation of the York Region District School Board, the institution of which I am proud to have been a part, and its hard-earned reputation for excellence. So, I have decided that the best thing I can do to serve the people of Georgina and the board is to step down. I hope that this will allow trustees to move forward and focus on the many important issues they face, and that it will enable a process of healing and restoration to begin. I am quite willing to be involved in that process if it would be helpful, though it will not be as a trustee. Let me address one more thing. People have asked how I could have said that terrible word. I have agonized over this. At times we have all had the wrong word come out of our mouths. You can apologize and explain as I did, but it is still deeply embarrassing. As you may have read, I had a bad fall and suffered a head injury a few weeks before the incident. I honestly can't say what role that injury may have played in my saying the wrong thing that day. My children and friends told me after the injury that they thought I was having problems and urged me to get treatment. I now wish I had listened to them sooner. I finally did see a head injury specialist who confirmed that I'd had a concussion and that I was experiencing some of the common symptoms, including mixing up my words. I've come to realize that while my head injury may help explain what I said, why I mixed up my words, it doesn't excuse it. I used a hurtful word, one that is directly at odds with my values, with the things my husband and I fought for, and with how I've lived my life and brought up my children. People come and go, but institutions prevail and continue to enrich our communities. The York Region District School Board is one such institution, made up of dedicated, loving, competent staff at all levels, who I know will continue to enrich and inspire the children for whose education they share a responsibility. To the people of Georgina, its families and their children, it has been an honor to serve as your trustee for the past 17 years, and I will always treasure being known as the school lady.